Another highlight of Sangfor HCI platform is security. As you know, Sangfor has been in security industry for over 15 years, and we do have a very strong capability on that part. And on Sangfor HCI, we have converged that power onto this platform. So first, let's take a look at distributed firewall. This is also called micro-segmentation by other vendors. Basically, is designed to protect your west and east traffic among different VMs. Okay, so let's take an example here. This is the topology we have created, and VM and VM clone. The two VMs are connected to the switch, and it's running on Sangfor HCI platform. So if you don't have distributed firewall, VM can access VM clone, and the VM clone can also access VM. They are free to communicate with each other. What if VM is infected with some malware or virus? Then the virus or malware can easily take VM as a platform and jump to VM clone, because there's no effective protection between VM and the VM clone. Traditional firewall usually sits on the perimeter of your network. It cannot protect your VMs effectively because basically it's not VM centric. That's why distributed firewall came out. So let's see what we can do to ensure the security across different VMs on Sangfor HCI platform. Now, like I said, VM can talk with VM clone freely without any other, cost. What can we do to ensure that the traffic between VM and VM clone are secured? Let's go to distributed firewall. Now I want to create a policy to allow VM clone to communicate with VM, but VM cannot talk with VM clone. What can I do? So click distributed firewall. As you can see here, I've already created a policy to protect the traffic from VM to VM clone. Let's take a detailed look of this policy. It's right here, and you just input the name of the policy first, and the policy can be set based on IP and VM basis. Okay, you can allow, you can create a policy based on any IP address or specified IP address. You can also create a service or a policy based on the VM basis. If you want to select a specified VM, you need to install VM tools to the VMs so that it can be recognized by the platform. Here, we use IP address, and I've created an IP address policy here on the distributed firewall. And after you select the match clause, you need to choose the service that you want to adopt to the policy. So here, I'm going to search for PIN, okay, the connectivity testing, and the PIN service is added. That means, I'm not going to allow VM to pin through to VM clone. And also, I'm not going to allow VM to remote access VM clone as well. Here you just select SSH, and then it's added to the service. If you cannot find your service in the predefined service category, you can also create your own service. That means the service here on the distributed firewall is customizable, and you can just add a policy based on your need. Okay, all the policy is on the TCP UDP protocol basis. You can just choose a protocol and input your name and also add the port, then your customized service will be added to the service, and you can choose it when you need it. Okay. As you can see here, the service we selected is to reject the pin and SSH from VM to VM clone. And let's see how effective this policy is. Click OK. And now here, we are on the VM desktop. And let's ping to check whether it can pin through to VM clone. The VM clone IP is 192. As you can see here, the ping is rejected. And let's try SSH. Again, it's rejected. You cannot SSH from VM to VM clone because the service is denied by our distributed firewall policy. Let's see whether the VM clone can pin through to VM. As you can see here, it's pinned through because we haven't denied any access from VM clone to VM. That means VM clone can freely talk to VM. As you have already seen, because we have created the VM to VM clone distributed firewall policy, and now VM cannot pin through to VM clone as well as SSH through. Okay, so the policy is, the action of the policy is reject. Now let's allow it and try again. Now VM can pin through to VM clone because the policy has been changed to allow this action. Let's try SSH. Again, it's okay. Okay, the SSH service is also allowed since the modification of the policy. So the distributed firewall service is a very big value-added feature that can comprehensively protect your VM traffic between different VMs in the cluster. Sangfor has provided a very comprehensive security for all of your business and VMs, as well as infrastructure protection in the Sangfor HCI platform. And we just introduced distributed firewall, which can effectively safeguard your east-west traffic across different VMs. Now let's take a look at application firewall. To understand the application firewall, first you need to go to System to check whether you have activated the license of the firewall. First, let's check the license here. As you can see here, the virtual NGAF has already been licensed. And let's go back to the networking page. And then, to deploy virtual NG firewall on Sangfor HCI platform is just as easy as the other steps I just showed you. You just drag the NGAF icon to the map and then apply changes. After the changes are saved, you need to do some configurations to initialize the firewall. Click the firewall and then click licensing. As you can see here, there's a window popped up. And because on this platform, we have a low-end virtual firewall licensed. And you can see the total amount of capacity for this firewall. You can create 100 branch VPN sites, 100 SSL VPN users, and other server access verifications, and mobile VPN users. This is the total resource that are licensed by this firewall. And here shows this frame shows the number of firewalls which are licensed. Here we only have one low-end firewall. And on the bottom of here, you can see the features that have already been added to this firewall. This low-end firewall can support all the features which are listed here. Click OK. We have already deployed this low model NGF here. Okay, and there's a one point that you need to pay attention here for the NGF. Since you activated the specific model of NGF, in the future, if you want to upgrade it, you can only upgrade it upwards. Okay, you cannot downgrade it to a lower model. You can only upgrade it to a higher model. So this is a point that you need to pay extra attention to regarding our virtual firewall on HCI. If you need to upgrade your firewall, just click Setting, Configuration, because here we only have a license of one low model firewall. If you have other higher model firewall license, you can just change your configuration right here. And you cannot change it downwards. You can only change it upwards to a higher model compared to an existing model firewall. So we can deploy the firewall to the topology. Very easy. Just draw a line between them, and then it will be connected. Okay, you apply changes. Everything can be done that easily. So the firewall, basically, it has almost all the features that a physical firewall has. Click the firewall. You can check the summary of this firewall, just like it's basically the same user interface like the VM summary or the physical node summary. It shows you the general overview of your your firewall running status. And you can also power it off or back it up, because this firewall is running as just like a VM on the platform, so it can also support some of the value-added features like high availability. Currently, this NGAF, this virtual firewall, is running on node 101, and it has the capability of failover. Once 101 is failed, this firewall will be restarted on 102. To check the web console of this firewall, you just go to Web Console, and the page will be redirected to the firewall management platform. And you don't need to import any username or password. Everything will be, input by default, and you will be jumped to this, firewall management console directly. As you can see here, the user interface is exactly the same like our physical firewall appliance. If you are familiar with our physical firewall, you can easily know how to operate on our virtual firewall, and the features are basically the same. Everything is basically the same. You can see here, this is the home page for the virtual firewall. So the virtual firewall is providing the layer 4 to layer 7 protection for your business. Okay, it is an application firewall, and it can effectively protect your south-north traffic. And for the VM protection, we provide this distributed firewall to ensure that the traffic across different VMs are secured. So this is a very comprehensive protection for Sangfor HCI platform.